Hello, this is AnlineOffline. This is the 13th episode of my Casual's Quick Guide to Call of Duty Mobile. For today's video, we'll be covering the HBRa3, the original pay-to-win weapon. The HBRa3 is a fully automatic assault rifle from Advanced Warfare. It's a futuristic interpretation of the ZZ-805 BREN, the standard issue rifle of the Czech Republic, but not to be confused with the British BREN LMG. Previously a member of the Warsaw Pact up until the Velvet Revolution, the Czechs sought to replace their aging VZ-58s with a more modern rifle that abided by NATO standards. Borrowing inspiration from the FN SCAR and H&K's G36, the 805 would be adopted in the early 2010s and be reworked into the more lightweight and ergonomic BREN 2. It technically made its debut in the franchise prior in Call of Duty Ghost, but both Ghost and Advanced Warfare tend to share the same weapons. Originally, the HBR was introduced to mobile as a paid exclusive in Season 3 of 2020, but was eventually made available for all several months later, and now it's unlockable at level 48. In terms of damage, the time to kill is relatively average across all ranges. The HBRa3 has a moderate fire rate of 700 rounds per minute, and it will kill in 4 shots up until 20 meters. Dropping 5 at mid-range and 6 from afar. Technically, it is possible to achieve a 3-shot kill if you were to land all headshots. Otherwise, a single headshot will not change the number of shots to kill. Mobility is standard amongst its fellow assault rifles. Reload cancelling with an empty mag is slightly faster than having spare rounds, which could be made faster if you were to use the fast extended mags. Moving on to accuracy, the one thing that stands out most is its diamond-shaped iron sights, which can be quite obstructive. I wouldn't fault anyone for using an optic. Previously below average in accuracy, the HBR received a sizable 20% buff to its bullet spread. Hipfire performance is relatively average in the AR class. Recoil is moderately light, but can be a little awkward with its slight horizontal sway. At the beginning of this video, I referred to the HBRa3 as the original pay-to-win weapon, and for good reason. It wasn't the first weapon to be added behind a paywall, but it was the first to actually affect the meta. Back in the day, it was the best weapon in the game, and the only way one could get their hands on it was to spend a guaranteed $150 on a lucky draw, which would get you the legendary version of the gun that had additional and stackable weapon perks, which made it superior to the base free version of the gun. But a free version would not exist until several months later, after it's been nerfed. It remained a top contender until the advent of Gunsmith, which ended the possibility of stacking multiple weapon perks based on weapon rarity. But the implementation of Bloom did not do the HBR any favors. 2 years later, the HBR is in an alright state. Pretty good, arguably underrated, but in my opinion it lacks an identity for itself. One of the things I like about Call of Duty Mobile is that it pays homage to the franchise as a whole, or at least it's supposed to. Gun from Advanced Warfare using a modern warfare style gunsmith is a bit strange. A lot of the attachments are copy and pasted from other weapons and aren't really that useful. To remedy this, the developers have started introducing signature attachments, which make some weapons a little bit more distinguishable. The HBR already has one of them, the Thunderbolt sling, but I believe that devs can go a little bit further than this. So rather than suggesting balance changes as I usually do, because I already believe that the HBR is a B+ tier weapon, for this section I'm gonna list some concepts to help the HBR stand out more. In Advanced Warfare, the HBR had a variable fire rate, which meant that the first few shots shot at a faster fire rate, and gradually slowed down the longer the trigger was pulled, kinda like the AN-94 from other CODs. Instead of a fixed 700 rounds per minute, having it fluctuate between 750 at first and 650 at the end would be a modest reward for those with trigger discipline. Another thing that Advanced Warfare had was weapon variants, which were paid version of the guns that had a specific trait that was buffed and nerfed as a trade-off. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for paid weapon variants or a pay-to-win system. What I would like to see is some of the HBR's variants to be somehow incorporated into the Gunsmith as attachments. Take the most competitive variant, for example, Insanity. It increases your fire rate and slightly buffs your long-range damage, but the trade-off is that it hurts your hipfire performance, and it makes it impossible to equip an optic. That could work as a barrel attachment. And there's other variants as well. And for the sake of balancing, you shouldn't be able to combine them. Keep in mind, none of these suggestions are meant to make it overpowered, just to make it more unique. But hey, that's just my opinion. This has been a not-so-casual, longer guide. My name is On, and I'm off.